Hey guys, today I want to demo this huge screen which comes standard on one of these new Slab MX all-button controllers, and then unpack another great customization feature that comes along with this device. Now, these are review copies from our friends at ArcadePCBs, and they sent us not one, but two different versions of their Slab MX controllers, a Pico model and a Brook Fusion model, and both are compatible with a variety of systems. Out of the box they look good, but full disclosure, these are demo units and didn't come with caps as normally would for a user who bought direct. So I picked up some Sino arcade style caps from AliExpress. They sell tons of different colors, but I think clear typically work the best for devices which utilize LEDs like this. You can get art prints for the top and the bottom, and I always make use of that on a controller if they offer it. For a custom Godzilla and King Kong mashup, I went with my guy Creeps and Babes, who always takes my concepts to new heights. Here we've got Kong taking a swing at the King of Monsters, and then him answering back with that atomic breath. I had a version of each one printed on both sides. The prints are on high quality paper and then laser cut. Another friend and I also used this artwork on a couple of past builds, but I thought it would work well here, especially considering the new movie just dropped. And speaking of Godzilla content, when was the last time we got a good kaiju fighting game? Anyway, these slab controllers are of that sandwich style design. That makes them a bit thicker than some other devices, but it also allows them to utilize full-size switches. The ones that come stock are LTC crystal similar reds, and this is what they sound like. Now, the last time I looked at a slab-style controller, a user in the comments section questioned how well button slides could be executed for easier Zangief SPDs. I think the slicker Sino arcade-style caps help slides to work at an acceptable level, but because the slab buttons stick up just a little bit higher than some competitors, it's not necessarily its strongest feature out of the box. However, it actually has the potential to be the best, just because it's a hot swappable device, meaning we can easily switch keys to whatever we want, and because these are full-size switches, I really mean whatever we want. There are hundreds of different switches out there when you're not locked into low-profile switches, so I went with a set of Punk Workshop low-stem variants. We just pick off the cap, remove the stock switches with a switch puller, and then reinsert our new ones. The slides were passable before, but now they are buttery smooth. And for what it's worth, I like the stock switches a lot too, so I left one of the controllers unchanged. Regarding the dimensions, I like the weight and the thickness. Even the top acrylic just feels a bit thicker than what we're used to on typical arcade sticks. The footprint is probably closest to a Snackbox Micro XL, but overall it just feels a bit beefier. There are 6 countersunk top and bottom screws to keep things flush, and they remove without difficulty for any maintenance. Everything comes apart easily with an Allen wrench. When comparing the two devices, they are very similar. Both models are compatible with a variety of systems, including the PlayStation 5. One does that with a Brook Fusion, whereas the other accomplishes that with a Pico and GP2040C firmware and pass-through. Both models offer multiple SOCD cleaning options, and there are hotkey presses on the Pico model to cycle through different ones, and then on the Brook version there is a 3-way slider. Really, they are very comparable. But one advantage this Pico version has is its great OLED screen. It is much larger than the previous Slab Mini offerings. This thing is almost 2.5 inches long. It has a monochrome display and can be used to show controller status and button activity. I always like to enable a splash screen that displays something fun on startup. I typically set it to 25 seconds, but a user could just as easily leave it on indefinitely. I whipped up a quick black and white Kong vs. Zilla sprite image in Photoshop and used that. I've done some screen change demos in the last 2 slab videos, so I wanted to delve a bit deeper into another fun element, the ability to alter the LEDs. When you've got your device plugged into your PC and you've opened the web configurator tool, you can go to the display settings and then customize individual colors for every button. I used an orange and blue button overlay on the art, so I tried to match the different hues to bring it back around in the lighting. Once you save it, you can cycle through the defaults to find your custom one and then tweak brightness to your taste. Regarding the gameplay, everything was responsive and felt very good. I even ended up liking the lower stem switches a lot more than I thought I would, and there's some definite allure if you're in the market for easier slides. I had another comment from a past video asking how to enable PS5 play on these Slab MX Pico models. These ship with updated GP2040CE firmware, so you'll simply need to insert a Magic Boots V1.1 dongle or some comparable alternative into the pass-through slot. It will stick out slightly from the device in this top right area, and the dongle will glow with a tiny blue light. Then you are free to play on PS5 fighting games with zero timeout issues. I know a lot of players prioritize the smallest possible controllers, but I'm actually more endeared to ones about this size. This is how the Slab MX footprint compares to other models. I find ones around this size have a better lap play experience and offer more room for your palms. Now, these are still small and flat enough to easily put in a backpack, but they don't leave you feeling like you had to sacrifice some margin of comfort for an ultra small form factor, especially if you're still playing from home 99% of the time. In conclusion, the whole device is really solid and my criticisms are pretty minor. The size and weight are good, the customization elements are good, and I like that they are doing something against the industry norm with their inclusion of full-size switches alongside this giant screen. Now, I also think this device could perhaps benefit from an additional face button or two on its next iteration, but overall, really liked what they were going for. If the Slab MX appeals to you, then you can pick one up from ArcadePCBs. They have an Etsy storefront and are very responsive to questions. And if you like what you saw, but appreciate the smaller models, then they've got you covered there too with their Slab Mini line. I'll link a video on that model here if you'd like to see how they differ. Anyway, thanks to ArcadePCBs for the review versions, and if you made it to the end, thanks to you for watching. I really appreciate it. Support your locals, and I'll see you next time.